All right, so chapter 7.
American Eagle.
This week. Chapter 7 today. Chapter 8 will be on Thursday. Okay. Remember, next week, we are not meeting on Tuesday. So that'll be out of town. Actually, no, we're not meeting at all next week.
That's right.
Because I won't be back in time for Wednesday night's class. So we will. Right, hold on, let me check my. Light. Say next week. That's right. Yeah, we're not gonna, so next week is a project work day. Okay, both Tuesday and Thursday is project work days next week. Okay. On Tuesday, I won't be able to log into Zoom, but on Thursday, I will. Okay. We will not have a formal class on Thursday, but I will be here on Thursday, the 27th. If you want to come in or if you want to log into Zoom, I will do that. But we're not going to have an official class. I'm not taking attendance on that Thursday. But I will log in if you have questions. Okay. And then we'll do chapters 9 and 10 on the 1st and the 3rd. Yeah, April 1st and 3rd. We'll do chapters 9 and 10, and then we'll be done with the textbook. And at that point, it'll just be all project work days. Okay, all project work days.
And those dates was not on this,
No, I don't think so because
I just wanna make-
I didn't put them on there because I didn't have them.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, so let's talk about chapter 7. We're still in the purchasing cycle. Okay, this is as far as determining how much to issue, how much to prepare. Okay. So 2 items that we can look at to figure out how much items to prepare is our sales history as well as our menu mix. Okay, so those 2 items are sales history and our menu mix. What's another way of saying menu mix? Think about chapter 4.
Popularity or percentage?
Yes, it's our popularity percentage. So menu mix is our popularity percentage. What percentage of our items did we actually sell? Those of y'all who are in class again, if you want to get, just anytime you want to get up and get some more pizza, it's here. You don't have to ask, just get up. Okay, so here we go. Our menu mix. Well, actually, how do we use our sales history to know how much to prepare for?
Don't we take the,
You're thinking about popularity percentage,
okay, right.
but let's talk about sales history.
Mhm.
How do we use that number to figure out how much to sell and how much to prepare for?
How much did we sell in the past?
Okay, how much did we sell in the past? How busy were we in the past? If it was a Monday night, typically on Monday nights, how busy are we? Are we slow or are we really busy? Okay, and usually anybody in here, has anyone in here been a prep cook? Anybody in prep cooks? No? Okay. So typically on a prep cook position, you're given a list of things to prep or prepare by your chef and by whoever the head cook is, the head chef. They're gonna say, I want you to go and prepare all of these things, right? Now, if it's slow, we have 1 set. So maybe we're gonna do 1 pan of tomato sauce if it's slow. But if it's busy, I'm gonna have you make 3 pans of tomato sauce, right? So that's my sales history. I can go back and look to see how busy was I and how much am I gonna have you prepare, okay? Now, our menu mix, these are for more items that like if we can do individually or how much to prepare. So let's do our traditional hamburger, cheeseburger, hot dog, and veggie burger. 4-item menu. Okay. So somebody give me a number that we sell of one of these items. Bless you. And let's make it in multiples of 25. It keeps the adding a little bit easy. So how many hamburgers did we sell?
50,
50. How about cheeseburgers
75,
and hot dogs?
25,
Okay, so we're gonna go with multiples of 25. And then veggie burgers,
5.
only
Forty?
multiples of 25.
Oh,
40?
25.
Oh, no.
Veggie burger, 0.
We gotta sell something.
25.
25? Okay, we add all those up. 50 and 50 is 175, right? So we sold 175 total items. See how that works? Now to get our percentage, what's the formula for percentage?
Triangle.
Part over the whole. So the part divided by the whole. Divide each item, the number sold, by the total items that were sold. Okay. So what is 50 divided by 175? Point what?
28.
0.28. Okay. So that's 28%. Any decimals? Exactly 28%.
William.
I don't trust you, but I'm going to check my math too.
He said he didn't trust us.
So 28.6%, right? 0.2857. Round that up to 2 decimal places, make it 28.6%. Okay, because we always want 1 decimal place with percentages. So 75 divided by 175. 42.9%. And then 25 divided by 175. 14.3. And that is the same for both of them. Okay. Questions about how we got those percentage numbers? So now what we can do is we can take those percentage numbers and we can determine, okay, if I'm going to be really busy, this is when I had 175 people. But what happens if I have 300 and let's just say 300? If I have 300 people, I can take these percentages and multiply by the number of people I expect to have. And so 300 times 0.286. Remember, we're going to move that decimal place back over to 85.8. Okay. What is 300 times 42.9? Yeah.
Just real quick, would you not round that because it's people?
This is the number of servings. So yeah, we could round it to 85, 86. Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second. Good question. Okay, what is 42.9% times 300 is
12,870.
128.7. And then 300 times 14.3. 42.9. So we can use these numbers, these percentages, to figure out how much to prepare based on the number of guests that we're going to have, right? So this kind of goes both directions. First, I figure out what my percentage is, and my percentage is how many did I actually sell divided by the total number of items that were sold. But then I can also do, if my cheeseburgers have a 42.9% and I expect to have 300 people, well, I'm going to prepare for 128, 129 cheeseburgers. Okay? I don't want to have way too much, especially with like something like ground beef, because I don't want it to go to waste. If it goes bad, I don't want to over order. Okay. So this is how we can use this information to figure out how much items to prepare. Okay, how many items to prepare. All right. The next thing is our conversion factor. In the preparation process, we can use this conversion factor. Okay. Our formula for the conversion factor is what do we need divided by how much the recipe yields. Okay? So what do we need divided by how much the recipe yields? So let's use a quick example. How many slices do we typically get out of a cake?
24.
Out of one cake? How big is your cake? Or how small are your pieces?
I don't like desserts.
You have to like what? 8 to 12 slices, right? Let's say it's 8 slices. So if my cake yields 8 slices, okay, use this as example number 1 on your notes page. If my cake yields 8 slices, and let's say I need to feed 24 people, what is my conversion factor? What is 24 divided by 8? 3, right? So if I say I need 24 slices and each cake makes 8 slices, what am I going to do to my recipe?
Double it.
I'm going to triple it,
But yeah.
right? So my conversion factor is 3. I'm going to triple it. That doesn't always work where it's nice and even like that, where we triple it. Okay. So let's use these examples right here that are on the screen. A recipe yields 4 servings. This is example number 2 on your notes page. A recipe yields 4 servings. What is the conversion factor if we need to feed 40 people? So what I need to serve is 40 divided by my recipe yield of 4, and my answer is 10. So my conversion factor is 10. So I'm going to multiply every ingredient in my recipe times 10.
So what number you said this was? It was,
This is your example number 2. Right?
Yeah.
Right here in the middle.
okay.
We need 40 servings. The recipe makes 4 servings. So my conversion factor is 10. Now, if we take a look over here, if the recipe uses 3 pounds of pork, how much does the scaled recipe need? If my one recipe that feeds 4 uses 3 pounds, how much does my scaled recipe for 40 need? So I take my 3 pounds, that's how much I need. Multiply it by my conversion factor. So I would need to order 30 pounds. Think about your project. You know how we have the recipe amount on that column on the page? We would multiply every one of those by 10 to figure out how much the recipe amounts that we need, right? Just like you do the same thing where you triple that recipe for the cake. You multiply all the ingredients by 3 so that we can make 3 cakes and get 24 slices. All right, the next example on the bottom of that page. We need to serve 20 people. So we need 20 servings. Our recipe yield is 32. What is 20 divided by 32? Is it more or less than 1? Good. 0.625. So that's my conversion factor. If we use 14 pounds of flour for this recipe, that's going to make 32 servings. And I only need 20. 14 pounds times my yield or my conversion factor of 0.625 And how much flour do I need?
Um,
8.75? So I'm only gonna weigh out 8.75 pounds of flour in order to make 20 servings. Okay? Let's say this makes 32 loaves of bread. I don't need 32, I only want 20.
Mhm.
Do I go ahead and make the full recipe and produce 32 servings, 32 loaves of bread? Well, what's gonna happen?
Too many bread.
I'm gonna have 12 extra loaves of bread. If I can't sell those extra loaves of bread and they go to waste, that's extra product that I've thrown away, which means I'm not getting sales for it, which means it's my cost is going to go up. So if I can scale my recipe up or down to only produce what I need, then that way I'm only going to sell what I've actually prepared and I'm not going to have any waste. Okay? Questions about conversion factors. They can go up, we can scale up, we could also scale down. Okay? Now let's talk about baker's percentage. How many of you have taken fundamentals of baking?
I'm gonna be honest.
I'm all right.
I'm gonna have to watch this whole class because this is like you talking straight Chinese to me.
Well, hopefully you can go back and rewatch it, read the textbook, and try to hopefully follow along with the notes page. Okay? So baker's percentage. This is another way that we can scale up and scale down. Okay? When we use our baker's percentage. Now, those of y'all who are any bakers in here? No bakers? All culinary, all hospitality, all restaurant? Okay. So this is very theory based, very math based, okay? So hopefully I don't confuse you when you go to the other classes. When we are talking about baker's percentage, flour is always 100%.
Always, always.
The flour weight is always 100%. Okay? So at the top of your notes page, it says when calculating baker's percentage, the flour weight is always 100. Okay? So on your notes page, our percentage for flour of 50 pounds is what?
100.
100%. So we put 100% right there in the table. 100% right there in the table. Okay? Now, we use that flour weight compared to everything else. So we divide 33 pounds of water, divide it by 50 pounds, and we get 66%. So that 33 pounds of water is 66% of the flour weight.
You said 66.
Uh-huh. Then the salt. We need 1 pound of salt for this recipe.
Zero.
And so if we divide 1 pound by 50, bless you, we get 2%. So the salt compared to that flour weight of 50 pounds is 2%. Okay, 2%. And then the last one is our yeast. So for this recipe, I need 0.6 pounds of yeast. I divide 0.6 by 50, and I get 1.2%. So our percentages on this top column, this top table up here, our percentages should read 100, 66, 2, and 1.2. Those are our percentages. Okay? Those are our percentages. All right. Jose, give me our new flour weight. Give me a number of pounds. It's either more or less than 50.
More than 50,
Mhm.
75.
75 pounds. 75 pounds is our new flour weight. So on your table, you're going to write 75 pounds 4 times right here. 75 4 times right here. Your new flour weight is 75 pounds. And now we multiply by our percentages. What is 75 times 0.66?
Oh,
49.5. Okay, cool. So 49.5 pounds is our new scaled recipe for water. So for water, 49.5 pounds of water. Okay. What is our new scaled recipe for flour?
So 100%, right?
It's 100%, right? So what is 100% as a decimal?
uh,
100% as a decimal, move that decimal place over 2. What is it?
One.
1. So what is 75 times 1?
25.
75 pounds. Our new flour weight, our scaled flour weight is 75 pounds, right? 2%, 75 pounds times 0.02 1.5 pounds of salt. And then the last one, 75 pounds times 0.012 is what? Is
0 point.
so 0.9 pounds. So not quite a full pound. Okay? How can we check to see if these answers make sense?
You would add it up, and if you're within an ounce of the new flour weight, then it would be correct.
Not quite. That's a good, well,
If you're under by an ounce or over by an ounce, then you're in the right range.
Not over 4, you're thinking.
not not quite. That's a good guess, but it's not quite. Because if we add 49.5 plus 1.5 plus 0.9, we only get 51.9. We can't add 75 because that's going to go way over the 75, right? Because 75 is the 100. But did our flour weight go up or down?
Down, right?
From 50 pounds to
Oh, 75.
75,
Okay.
it went up,
Wow, okay, yeah,
which means all these numbers
it went up.
should be higher than those numbers. So if they're higher, then that means we have a pretty good indication that we're going to do that we're going to be in the right track. Now, if we got numbers that were lower, we might be having some issues. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns about Baker's percentage? Now, there is a way to do it if you have 2 flours, but we're not going to go with that. We're not going with that detail.
I'm so confused because that's not how we were taught on fundamental.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, bro.
Okay, so how were you taught? Because let me know, because I've never actually been taught how to use Baker's percentage. I've only just used this method.
Wayne,
After-
you just said it. We add everything, and if we're within an ounce, then we're good.
Yeah, but we missed a step with the math is when you get your new yield, you add up your previous with whatever percentages it may be. Like we would do 0.66 instead of 66%, and we would add all of them, and then we divide the new yield by that number to get our new yield, times it by the numbers in their decimal form, and then add all those up. And if it's in within an ounce, under or over, it would be correct.
What you start to say is the weight, we convert the weight in percentage. And then we
Right.
add the percentage. And then we use that percentage to the new,
Okay. So,
I'm taking this class right now, so that's why.
So you would do
I
like
remember something.
100 plus 66% plus,
okay, you would
Yeah,
do
because the
it in
flour is
decimal
100.
form because that's the weight. Because
Stays the same.
so
right,
let's say
so
this is making
if we
50
added all
servings.
these, if we added all these up together, we'd have
Yeah.
1.692.
Okay. So then you would take that, and then you would take your new yield, which would be 75, and you divide it by that number in decimal form. So whatever that may be. It can go to the thousandths or something, 3 decimals. And then whatever number you get from that, you would times the weight of your ingredients, like 0.66 by that number to get the new number. Here, I got you.
Okay, I'm gonna have a one-on-one with Chef De La Fuente and Chef Brandy and Chef Woodard to make sure that
Okay.
I'm teaching it the similar way, because what you just said makes no sense to me. But this makes very much sense. This is very easy compared to that. But again, I'm not a baker, right? I'm a hotel guy. So I don't have to use this on a regular basis. This baker's percentage in this format is very similar to this right here, what we did with popularity percentage, where we took the old and divided it by and multiplied by the new. So that is very, and this may just be overly simplified, okay? But there isn't any questions on the final exam about Baker's percentage, so don't stress about it, okay? So you do whatever was taught to your by your professors in your other classes, okay? All right, so how are we doing? 20 minutes. All right, so let's take a look at some other things we can do as far as in the process of the production of food. Why do we want to follow the standardized recipe? Why do you think we want to follow the standardized recipe?
Because of quality and.
Okay, so why because of quality? Give me a specific reason, not just because of quality. Obviously, it's about quality, but why? Why does that
Because the
matter?
ingredients had already been measured out and tested, right?
Okay, so they've already been measured and tested, which means we know how much it makes, so how many servings it's going to make, but then also how much it
Costs.
costs, right? That's what we based on how much we sell it for. So if we don't follow that standardized recipe, then we could potentially either spend more money than we thought we were going to, and that's going to impact our food cost percentage. What are some other reasons regarding quality? Yes.
Consistency.
Consistency. When our guests come in, they want to have the same thing, right? So we want to follow that standardized recipe. It's helpful if we use photos of what the picture of the plate is supposed to look like when we are done. Okay? So that way, if there's 4 of us at a table and we each order steak with a baked potato and broccoli, our plates look exactly the same. Okay? Taste tests are to be done before the meal and also during the meal. Why do we want to taste test it before the meal?
If something's wrong.
What could go wrong?
The salt taste.
It could be over salted.
Yeah.
We could use sugar instead of salt.
Right.
Okay, if I'm making biscuits and gravy and I put salt or sugar in that gravy instead of salt, I'm gonna have an issue. Okay,
You're gonna have
I'd
dessert.
rather throw away that whole batch of gravy and make it again, make it right. So that way during the meal service, I don't have to unhappy guests and to comp their whole meal. I'd rather throw away that first one, make it correctly, and then serve it correctly. Right? There's one time that I made biscuits and gravy for breakfast when I was up in Maine, and I didn't listen to the head cook, it was my first summer, I was the assistant cook. I didn't listen to her to do it nice and slow and not in like a giant pot, right? What happened? I scorched my gravy.
Yep.
Okay. I used like a real thin pan pot instead of like one that had a real heavy bottom that evenly distributes the heat. I scorched it. Can you come back from a scorched gravy? No, it has that burnt flavor permeated through, right? And so with that, I had to throw that all away and make it again. Okay, that cost money in doing that.
But did you say it tastes okay to you?
No, it tasted awful. Yeah, it had that burnt flavor. That's so gross. But you can't get that burnt flavor out of your mouth. Okay, and then the taste test during the meal.
Right.
Okay, it's one thing for us to execute the meal perfectly when we're slow, but when we're really busy, we don't want to make any mistakes, right?
Exactly.
And so your manager may, how many, any of y'all have ever in here ever been a server? Okay, sometimes your manager's like, hey, put in an order of mozzarella sticks and spinach artichoke dip. Right? We don't say that it's for a manager, we just put it in there and have it delivered to the table, and they're gonna test the quality, they're gonna test, make sure the recipe's been followed, and that's what's looking the way it's supposed to look, okay? So we're testing that during the meal process. We wanna make sure that we're managing that production process so that we're not wasting food and we are consistent along the way. Okay? We wanna ensure those proper holding temperatures, so if it is supposed to be held hot, like soup or a sauce, it needs to be above what?
180. What you say on the sauce?
Is it 150?
What, you said super sauce?
Soup or sauce?
Okay.
Are they different? I don't know. I'm a
Yeah,
hotel
so
guy.
over 150, 160, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like
It has to be
155,
above.
something like that.
When I was a student, it was the time and temperature danger zone was 40 to 140.
Yes.
And now it's like 41 to 141. Like, I don't know what that 1 degree difference makes, but it makes something, I guess. Okay. But is so like if it's soup, is it 150?
150.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Moses on that.
Okay.
I'm not gonna, am I gonna pass my sanitation test if I put 150?
Yeah. you'll pass.
Okay. We wanna make sure we ensure those proper holding temperatures. If it's been there held too long, over 4 hours, we gotta toss it,
That is close.
right? And then we go back to this idea about the production process. Maybe on a Monday, I don't have to produce a full gallon of beurre blanc. Maybe just a half a gallon of beurre blanc because I don't want it to go to waste if I'm not going to be that busy. Okay, so that production process is important. And then carryovers. Carryovers are things that we can carry over from one meal service or day to the next. Okay, now ideally, we might use those things in a creative manner. So let me give you an example. Up in Maine, every Sunday, the first Sunday of every camp was spaghetti night. That's a good home cooked meal. Kids might they don't want to be homesick on the first day. So spaghetti with meat sauce. But I don't know how much spaghetti to make, and I don't want to run out of spaghetti because that's a bad look to run out of food on your first meal, right? So I would always make like 15 pounds of spaghetti.
Mhm.
I always had extra spaghetti. So what do I do with it?
Cut it down some.
3 days later, we had Asian night. I take those cooked spaghetti noodles and I toss them with some soy sauce, brown sugar, garlic, and
Ginger.
ginger. Thank you. You know, toss it with that sauce. Then make some lo mein noodles out of it. Put some frozen Asian vegetables on top. Stick it in the oven. Kids had no idea they were eating spaghetti from 3 nights before.
Mm.
Okay. So think about some ingredients, some things that we might have left over into the night. What are some things that we could creatively shift them into something for tomorrow that our guests maybe had no idea? What do you think?
Could work sometime, according how many people you have. I mean, what you have left over. You know, like-
Okay, what?
That meat sauce can be used in a lasagna.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so maybe I can put that meat sauce in a lasagna. And maybe I don't have lasagna on my menu, but hey, you know what? Today it's a special and you can only get it today. So I'm gonna add like $3 extra to that lasagna, right? Because it's a special. Or I might offer it a little bit lower price just to get rid of it so that I don't have to throw the product away. Okay, good. What else?
My first thought was just banana bread out of like expired bananas or not
Okay,
expired, like.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so if we have over-ripened bananas, maybe we can make some banana bread that's normally not on our menu. Okay, what else? How could we use leftover bread?
You can make croutons out of it.
Make croutons out of it for our salads.
Bread
Right.
pudding.
Make bread pudding out of it. Oh my gosh, we have a special dessert today. It's bread. Now, if you had garlic bread, probably not going to make the best bread pudding. Okay. Unless there's a such thing as a savory bread pudding. I don't know. But there's some ways. How many of y'all been to HEB and you see that they have that rotisserie chicken in little containers, right? That's literally the chickens that didn't sell from the day before.
Exactly.
They just took it off the bone, put it in the container, and charged you an extra $1 or $2.
Actually, we
Right?
take
Yep.
them out of packages and then we make those containers after we open the packages that are for that. We don't take any extra chickens.
Really? So that's not rotisserie chicken?
No, it's rotisserie chicken.
Okay, but it's not ones that you've actually roasted.
No.
It's just-
We have prepackaged chicken that we have, like, we open a package and then we like fill the containers with it.
Okay. Where do you get those stuff that the prepackaged? Is so that you just buy prepackaged rotisserie chicken?
Yes, my manager usually orders them the day before,
Oh, wow.
like, just to make sure that we have enough for like that day.
Yeah,
And we always make sure we always get off the shelves all of the either out of dates or upcoming out of dates.
right? Yeah. Okay, awesome. And what about the chicken salad? Do you guys make that fresh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I'm like, don't ruin my whole world.
While we're talking,
Don't ruin my whole world.
We get the real
That chicken salad's really good.
the one with
Yeah.
cranberries?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Real
The real information.
So, but like if you are a restaurant, right, and you've got some leftover chicken like that, maybe you take the chicken off, maybe we have a chicken salad for lunch that next day, and maybe we roast those bones and make a bone broth out of it and have a soup, so there's different ways that we can use those leftover. We call them leftovers, but we're gonna call them carryovers because that sounds a lot better than leftovers. Okay, how are we doing on time? Woo, we'll get through it. Oh, I see a chat. Hold on. Garlic bread that can be used for bread pudding can be a crust or breading. Oh yeah, I never thought about that. Cool. Yeah, dry it out and then like crumble it up, maybe for like breading for chicken parmesan or something. That sounds like a good idea. All right, so beverages. Let's talk about beverages really quickly in our last few minutes together. True or false? Beverages have recipes just like food.
Oh.
That is true.
Yeah, it does.
That is true. Okay. What's the thing that we think about most when we think about beverages having recipes? Bartenders, cocktails. Okay. But it doesn't have to be cocktails. We can have mocktails, which is basically a non-alcoholic version of the cocktail. Okay. Mocktails are becoming really.
Specialty drinks,
Say that one more time.
like specialty drinks, like when they have the different type of lemonades and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yep. You can have like a strawberry lemonade, raspberry lemonade. Basically, a recipe is going to be whatever the base liquid is, plus whatever other ingredients you're going to put in there. Okay. Now, the majority of the rest of the world uses the metric system, liters, grams, things like that. We in America like to use the imperial system, which is gallons, cups, ounces. Okay, it's not as easy to convert. Okay, but we do a lot of our recipes in ounces, but our bottles typically come in liters and milliliters. So this is a conversion that you need to know that 1 liter
1 gallon, right?
is equal to 33.8 ounces. So 1 liter does not equal 1 gallon.
Okay.
Nope. 1 liter does not even close. 1 gallon is 128 ounces.
Yeah, because in
Yeah.
Asian country, yeah.
So 1 liter is 33.8 ounces. Okay,
No, 4 liters equal 1 gallon. Right, so-
close, but not quite.
Yeah.
Okay. So if 1 liter equals 33.8 ounces and 750 milliliters is 0.75 of a liter, see how easy that is? 1,000 milliliters, 750 milliliters. if we multiply by 0.75, what do we get? 33.8 times 0.75 is 25.3 ounces. So 750 milliliters is 25.3 ounces.
In
How
Puerto
many
Rico, it's really
ounces?
weird.
Sorry, that
In
one more
Puerto
time.
Rico, in Puerto Rico is really weird because we use miles for distance, but when you go get gasoline or something, it's by the liter. So we have like both over there.
Yeah, so over where?
Puerto
In
Rico.
Puerto
Oh, Puerto
Rico.
Rico. Sorry. Yeah, I missed that first part. Yeah, exactly. Canada, I think, is this. No, I think Canada's on kilometers, but they also use liters for their gas as well. 'Cause I was like, dang, it's only $1.75 for. I'm like, oh, that's a liter. That's not quite. Anyways, but that's not a good deal. All right. So if we have 1.5 liters, so 1.5 liters, 33.8 ounces times 1.5 liters is what?
50.7.
Good, 50.7. And the reason why I use these two numbers, the 1.5 and the 750 milliliters, is because those are your traditional sizes of liquor bottles or wine. Okay. So a 750 milliliter is a traditional wine bottle, and then or liquor bottle. And then we also have liters and 1.5 liters. The 1.5 liters are what we usually call a handle, like that liquor bottle that has the big handle on it. Okay, 1.5, or a magnum bottle of wine. Okay, why is that important? It's a good question. I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you why that's important. Okay, if my normal standard pour for a glass of wine is 6 ounces, out of one bottle, how many glasses of wine am I going to get? So 25.3 ounces divided by 6 ounces is 4.2. I'm gonna get 4 glasses,
Mm-hmm.
and there's gonna be a little bit extra. Okay? That little bit extra is what we call spillage. It can be literally we spill, or maybe somebody over pours a little bit, right? Most times you're gonna have like an imaginary line on the glass that will tell you where to fill your beverage to, okay? But that spillage allows us to be able to have a little bit of leeway, okay? So I'm gonna get 4.2 servings. Now with wine, typically if you open a bottle of wine, whatever we sell the glass for is approximately how much the business paid for that bottle. Wine typically has a 300% markup. Because if I open that bottle and I only serve one glass and I have to throw it away because nobody else orders after a couple of days, I've at least covered my cost of that bottle. Okay. So let's talk real quick because I have about 2 minutes. So I'm going to go through this next example very, very quickly. Okay. Let me clear my screen. So we buy 750 milliliters of Jack Daniels for $22.09. That's how much I buy that bottle of Jack Daniels for. Okay. My standard pour is 1.5 ounces. So how many ounces are in 750 milliliters? How much did we say?
4.2.
25.3.
Oh, 25.
25.3 ounces divided by that 1.5 ounce serving.
Oh, okay.
So 25.3 divided by 1.5, 16.8. So I should get 16 servings out of that bottle.
Oh, that's gonna get you where you need to go.
That 0.8 is
Spillage.
spillage, right? That 0.8 is spillage. So 16 servings, that's what we're going with. We're gonna drop this at 0.8 because that's spillage, okay? So what is our cost per serving? My cost per serving, $22.09. That's my cost divided by 16 servings. 22.09 divided by 16 is $1.39. That's what it cost me. It's $1.39
For that,
for that one little 1.5 ounce shot.
right, exactly,
Okay.
okay, right.
Now, if we sell Jack Daniel's on the rocks, that means just ice. We sell it on the rocks for $7.50. $7.50 times my 16 servings is $120. When I empty that bottle, I should have a check for a total of $120 in my cash register.
Gotcha.
Okay? So $120. Have you ever been to a club and you do like bottle service and a bottle's like $200? Well, that's why. 'Cause
They have a
you're buying whatever. I've never done bottle service. I'm not that bougie, so I can't say for sure. All right. So in my last minute, let me see if we can get through these last two questions real quick in the last minute. Okay. So now, if our bartender only gets 13 servings instead of 16, okay, how many servings are we short?
Read it.
So we're short 3 servings times that $7.50. So 3 times 750. We lost $22.50 in sales. We lost that money. Whether our bartender poured extra and gave everybody 2 ounces instead of 1.5, or whether their friends came in and they gave them free drinks and didn't charge them at all, whatever, we don't know the situation. But last thing, okay, is we multiply this by 360 days out of the year. Because we're closed 5 days, right? We're gonna give our employees at least some kind of holidays.
No.
So 2250 times 360, $8,100 in lost revenue for the year on one liquor. I went to Six Flags one time. They had a private event, so I went, bought my ticket. I had a student that was working the lemonade booth, and I walked up. I was like, "I'm gonna support her. Let me give her some sales." And I was like, "I'd like a lemonade." I go to pay with credit card, and she's like, "Mr. Mincy, we only take cash." I'm like, "Well, I have no cash." And she's like, "Well, you can have the lemonade anyways." And I was like, "Did you learn nothing in my cost control class? I will take the lemonade and I will enjoy it, thank you, but you can't give it away to everybody,
Thank
right?
you.
You have to be able to manage those sales and those costs, okay? So when we start on Thursday, I'm gonna start with 2 videos about how we can manage our beverage consumption and like our beverage costs. And then we'll go right into chapter 8 of the textbook, okay? Thank you so
Davis.
much. I will post this video on Canvas in the next half an hour, so if you need to go back and watch it, you can. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you on Thursday.